ahead.
Just what you think of the first day and where you all are maybe compared to a year ago.
I mean, I think to compare between where we're at now and a year ago, I mean, it's night and day. That doesn't mean it's everything's roses. I mean, it felt like a day one of spring in every way. It didn't feel like the first day of a defense. There's some habits that are in place that are ingrained. But that never, those constant reminders of those things never go away. So you're never just there, and everything's fine, and guys are running the football like you don't have to give them constant reminders that way. But certainly, the percentage of times that you do, certainly decrease. In a year's time, guys understand how to get lined up and all that. I mean, I can't even, I don't wish first years on anybody. Specifically first springs. But that's part of what we do and all those things. So some certainly made some strides.
Do you approach year two a little bit differently? Do you add things more aggressively, or how do you go about it?
No, I think year two is completely different than year one. I put year one in its own category, and then beyond that, you're trying to have the best defense you possibly can have in 2020, and how do you do those things? And it's 2021 is going to be kind of in that same kind of mold, type of deal. And so, in any event, no. But what you do want to see, obviously, progress. You want to see the guys coaching each other a little bit. Some of the things that you had to bark at a year ago that you want to talk to the young guys about, maybe the first day guys, and some of those guys have been around for 365 days. That it's a little bit more ingrained in them.
What do you look at some of the new guys that are moving, like a Robert Barnes, Jamal, people like that?
Well, I expect them to compete. I mean, we don't move anybody to be a backup. We don't move anybody to be a depth guy. We talked about over a year's time, and we're dying for depth. And so, anytime we can shuffle the deck and put guys in position, hope number one, what's best for the University of Oklahoma football team, and then combined with that 1A and then 1B is what's best for them, and try to find that marriage that way. And so that's obviously first day, no pads and all those things, so work in progress, those things. But we do it with the intention of the guys having the chance to compete and produce and help us win football games.
Did he know what he was doing? Did the new guys, you moved?
And we take advantage of every minute that's allowed to us NCAA wise. Leading up into practice number one. But there's a ball there today. I mean, so in some ways, I forgot I got to finish plays and some of those things. But in terms of getting lined up, making communications and that, I thought some of the guys that you mentioned, they move in position did a mild, assessment. Not watching the film yet, but did a nice job.
Alex, what was your impressions of the coaching stations portion of what OU does? I guess you probably had done some of it last year.
Sure.
How much does that help you by the time you get to spring, and what did you just think of the process?
Well, I think it's a necessary part of the process, and we explained to the guys, and Coach Rod does a phenomenal job. We explained to the guys, if we didn't think it did us any good, we wouldn't do it. I mean, you just don't. That's run around bags at 6 a.m. and to fill time. I mean, you do it because there's certain elements to this sport that we can't put the pads on yet. So what elements of the things that are going to be necessary to be successful in football can we get done without pads on and all those things, and obviously running plays. And one of those things is the discipline, attention to detail. It's the mental toughness aspect of things. It's going one more rep when you thought maybe that's all you had in you type of thing. And so it's a huge piece of what we do. You're always cognizant of the fact that you're not unique and that you're doing those things, and so it's not that you do them, it's what you do with them. But certainly the thing I noticed from a year ago, we had a lot less guys on the side pulling out. I mean that was a pretty low standard, but talk about where we came from a year ago. I mean it was a successful week in that regard. And so what you need to do then, you got to go to the practice field, you got to implement some of those things. And what was the point if now today you show no mental toughness? What was the point if all of a sudden today, from a change of direction standpoint, that you're no better than you were before coach's station? So again, it's all in how you implement that week, and then obviously how you use it moving forward.
Alex, I know that you guys didn't come meet your takeaway goal last year. Yeah. Are you changing anything about the way you approach that this year?
Well, I mean, to say we didn't meet the goal is that's a nice way to say it. I mean, that was.
I'm just trying to be nice.
Yeah, well, it is, and it's an alarm, and I appreciate it, but that's an alarming stat, and that's gross, and it's on me. Again, you lose a lot of credibility as a coach if you come up here and stand in front of you guys, stand in front of a team, stand in front of a unit, and say we're going to get takeaways, make a major emphasis of, and then you don't get them. And it's no different than we're going to throw a bunch of touchdowns and you don't get it done. So we take it very serious as a coaching staff. We failed, and I'm in charge of it. You know, it speaks to making plays, and certainly are there opportunities? Yeah, I don't buy into that it's luck. We weren't unlucky last year. No, that's not it. We didn't take advantage of opportunities. I think some of it, you know, we talked about it, and obviously, you know, last year in terms of, you know, what's our expectation? Why are we surprised when the ball's thrown to us? And that it did rear its head all the way through week 14. And so that's something that's got to increase. It's got to be a want to. And one of the things we're talking to the guys about, you know, takeaways aren't bonus. That's not extra credit. And I still think we feel that way a little bit. And again, if we feel that way, then I've ingrained that. So that's on me, you know. But it's not extra credit. It's not a bonus point. It's not, you know, if you know, let's knock the ball down, and if it works out and it happens to stick in my belly or stick in my hands, then okay, I'll catch it this time, type of thing. Or maybe the running back will decide to drop the football. No, I got to create him that way. And so, in any event, no, we're doing some things, you know, emphasis wise. That way, but again, it's got to create more, the mindset. And I don't think it's just unique to takeaways. I mean, we were top 10 in the country in TFLs, and we should have more. You know, we made some major strides from a sack standpoint, and I believe we left a lot on the field. You know, and so and from a PBU standpoint, not getting, you know, that one time that guy gets two hands on the football, god dang, what if we took an arm away? And so it speaks so much to kind of a bigger issue in terms of we got to establish more playmakers on this defense.
Alex, I know, you know, the way that Woody Washington's season ended, the position he got put in was difficult for anybody. But how much during the offseason did you have to kind of, because he had some good plays in that game, but how did you have to kind of make sure that it stays a positive for him and not a negative?
Well, and it started that night, and grabbing him and you know, appreciate you know, his efforts. And he's one of those guys we talk about, you know, that safety room, you know, making progress and establishing more depth, and was disappointed over the course of the year and not having more that way. And that's not fair to him as a freshman to say that's on him. You got to be that guy for us. But that's where he was thrust at that point in the season. I thought he came in and showed well at times. And that's something that really has to be a springboard for him from a confidence standpoint. And we're awfully excited about him. You know, we really are. I think you know, from a back end deal, we're obviously, you know, continuing to search for prospects and playmakers back there, and he's a guy that we were able to secure the red shirt, and a guy that you know is you know, including specifically this year, and we'll worry about the years to come, but a guy we expect to have some impact for us defensively.
Alex, there's a huge hole in the middle. Nev, Dylan, Q. How close is someone like Jordan Kelly to making that next step?
Well, and not close enough, and that's just the reality of it. It doesn't mean he doesn't have the ability to do it, or he's not going to have the opportunity to do it. But, you know, I'll say this: the guys that contributed last year were the guys that we felt could contribute last year. And believe me, we wanted more guys to contribute. So if you didn't see their name in the stat book, or you didn't see them go in the game, there's a reason that they didn't. And in not all cases was it health related. And so, you know, Jordan Kelly, all those guys up front, LeRon Stokes has to be a better playmaker for us. I love LeBron. He did a real nice job. Glad we had him, but we need production, you know. And that's again, that's not being negative. That's being real. And he would tell you the exact same thing, you know. And so all those guys in the middle, they certainly do have to produce more, and that includes everybody on our defense. But no, they got to step up.
Sort of along those lines, what's been your impression of the JUCO defensive lineman that you brought in?
Well, it's been good, and obviously, you know, the junior college guys you bring in, there's, you know, anticipation that they help you right away. Otherwise, you'd sign a young guy and give him your program for a few years. And so it's been good, and obviously we're just getting on the field with them one day, no pads, all those things, and so there's a learning curve. You know, the difference, you know, in a year's time, there's a couple guys with a learning curve that way, and there's, you know, they take the field. There's 9 other guys kind of know what they're doing. They got to do it better, but you know, so that will help kind of I think enhance their growth as we move through this thing. But we got high expectations for them, and we'll see how the kind of spring
Did you like the
progresses.
size and the weights of your guys?
You know, I did. I think you know, just as you look at it, I think secondary wise, you know, I think you know, adding more mass, and we made major progress in January and February. I mean, that's the bigger, faster, stronger months. I mean, that's what they have. We can't play football those months, and so what we need to do is take advantage of those things. Coach Wiley did a tremendous job. Major emphasis that way. You know, we don't want to coach the same team. I don't want to look at the same guy.
Yeah, I got you.
You know, and I don't mean you know in any other way except physically. They better not look the same. And so I thought the guys really took to that and had an understanding that you know, if I played last year, great, but I can't be the same guy. And so some of that's from a physical standpoint. But I thought, you know, leaned up front in a good way, and the mask we put on is a positive. Now you can't all of a sudden hit stop. Now that we're in the spring ball, we better not see the same group come back in fall. I mean and we'll get there when we get there. We got to focus on these 15 days being football players. But no, it's been pretty positive, but we still got work to do.